Now the first match for this grand day, please welcome Team Falcons!
Yeah, Team Falcons typically runs through everybody with Proper and Stalker leading the way. That Chio Fielder backline, the Hanbin, Winston potentially on the cards in this match. They are so strong player for player, but NTMR's a tough opponent.
And on the other side of the battlefield, let's welcome NTMR!
How much longer can this Cinderella run extend? NTMR proving that sticking together as a core and working hard can allow you to achieve your goals. This team wanted to pedal out a lot of these Ramatra comps at the start of the year, but they've shown a great deal of flexibility. Kappa has what it takes on the Hazard, on the Winston. The pound for pound, the question lingers. Can they hang with the literal world champions on the biggest stage they've ever really played on?
Well, let's see who's going to come out on top of this one. For all the action, we're going to send it over to Joss and Necro.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Yes, here it is, upper bracket finals. Team Falcons versus NTMR. They're just taken to the stage, sitting their bums in the seats, Rose, and we're getting ready for some action. Rose, the desk is completely split here. Half going NTMR, half going Falcons.
Ooh, so then where are you and I gonna land on this one?
Well, I want you to go first.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. I think it is entirely possible that NTMR can win this. I think logically, I have to give it to Team Falcons, but I want NTMR to win this.
It's a head and a heart situation.
So badly.
Your head says Falcons, your heart says NTMR. Let's have a look at the community preds, though. Where's everybody looking?
It's so split, too.
Yeah, mad respect for those NTMR voters. 49% to 51 for Falcons. Look, honestly, like Mitch was saying, though, I got to agree with him. They got to have another life game. Can Zera put up the performance that he put up yesterday? His Tracer play yesterday was some of the best I think we've ever seen. Like, destroying Heesang in that 1v1 Tracer duel.
It was crazy.
And Crazy Raccoon, we expected them coming in to go with a 3-0. Just smack them out of there, no problem, down to the lower bracket. And they came up big time, and that is the man right there that got it done for them.
I'm hoping that this wasn't just a life game for Zera, but a chapter turn in his entire history as a player. This is going to be potentially the series that can cement himself into history in competitive Overwatch. And so I'm pumped to see if Zera can continue to put up those numbers and prove to us it wasn't just another day in the office. It's going to be the rest of his life.
Yeah, and now you're going against two Tracer gods on Team Falcons. The flexibility in this DPS line for Falcons cannot be understated. Proper and Stalker can just play whatever they choose. Mitch was saying you've got to ban that Farah first map. We'll jump into the bans in just a second. But Rose, I quickly wanted to point out the Zera signs in the audience and the NTMR signs too. Yesterday, everybody was going crazy every single kill.
And this is the type of team that's going to feed off of that energy. The fact that you've got the crowd rallying behind you, I think everybody is hoping to see a new era in Overwatch. It's not just about the Korean dominance anymore, but it's about leveling the playing field. And I really think that that's happened.
Sparkle card, Hanbin card spotted. God, I got some of those cards at home as well. Man,
I mean, like, speaking of Korean dominance.
A piece of history there. I actually, there was an interview filmed with Danny and Sarah from earlier on this morning. We're going to quickly jump into that before we get into this game.
What's up, everybody? I'm here with Zero from NTMR. They're about to go into their match against Team Falcons, but I just wanted to really quickly talk to you. I mean, this is the upper bracket final, Zero. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling confident as always. I think it'll be a great match. I think it'll be, you know, both teams are very strong, so I'm hoping for a very competitive match versus Falcons.
I totally agree as well, because I talked to Proper yesterday actually, and he also said that this matchup isn't going to be an easy win for the Falcons, and he specifically said that Zero, you're a really, really good DPS, and he said he called you, quote unquote, the next generation of DPS players in the OWCS scene. How does that make you feel?
Well, for the longest time now, ever since Overwatch 2's release, and I got to witness him on the Shock in 2022, Proper's been like an idol for me, and to hear praise from him is incredible for me, and I feel like I'm at a point where I'm going from a fan looking up to him to a rival, which is a great feeling.
And I mean, it is happening. You are going up against Proper. Are you nervous at all that you're sort of going up against your idol, I guess?
Never nervous, always confident.
All right, Zero. Well, I'm gonna let you go because you have to get ready for the match. Hey, great job. Thanks for the interview, and back to you guys.
Turning from an idol to a rival there. I mean, Proper was even waving at Zera from the crowd yesterday too, after that just insane win. And what a come up for Zera here as well. You just heard him there, like getting praise from someone like Proper, from Proper himself, is a pretty big deal to him.
I mean, game respects game.
Yeah, 100%.
What kind of praise could you, I don't know, I like look forward to in your competitive Overwatch career?
Yeah. You look up to someone then go, hey, you're all right.
Yeah.
You're all right. Exactly. So now he has to, unfortunately, face down the barrel of Proper's pulse pistols, I think. This Tracer duel might go a little wacky and wild. Now, Falcons and Nightmare heroes. Let's talk about their matchup, especially on someone like a control map. Where do we expect to go here? We do see a Ramatra and a Lucio ban, Falcons and Nightmare respectively, Harbin on the Mauga.
So I really like this map pick, and I think I understand now maybe why the Pharah wasn't banned out here. I totally agree with Mitch on the desk that this he's saying Pharah could potentially, like, you know, it's going to be a problem, I think, to be able to see Pharah come out at all from this Falcons roster, because he's saying was just such a big deal in a lot of these matchups. But I think when you take a look at Lijiang, Pharah isn't necessarily one of those DPS that we often see, and instead we're going to see Team Falcons kind of lock into what they have previously. This Genji, this Sojourn, as well as the Mauga coming up from Hanbin. We're really looking at Team Falcons wanting to try to just kind of bully their way through this Nightmare team.
I mean, this is how they became champs last year, right? Team Falcons on this Mauga. Proper taking first blood though. Admiral falls, Filter to follow, but look at the aggression from Hanbin here. Should be pretty easy to deal with the Juno, just body blocking the doorway as well. Yeah, there's no support now for Nightmare to back them up with. They were trying to cap the point, but cover is out.
We are already going to see Lethal actually swap off of the Cassidy and try to match Stalker in this Sojourn duel. Being able to have that one-shot potential, I'm actually very interested to see if Kuffa is going to make that swap as well to maybe go over to the Mauga. But it doesn't look like it. Just going to go ahead and stick to that Hazard. And so Kuffa's job right now on this Hazard, you're really going to try to follow up on a lot of this big damage coming through from both Zera and Lethal, and maybe even try to go after Fielder and Chio. Very important now for Kuffa to be able to watch these mobility cooldowns from the Kiriko and Juno.
Zera going down though, Terrell going to Stalker, not good. Now Wall is going to stop Hanbin from being a factor in this fight for a brief moment in time. Stalker taking a heap of damage though, but Team Falcons just very patient. They do end up losing the player and actually just going to give up the point.
Nightmare, with that pick from Lethal, we're actually going to take a look at Lethal, maybe even getting this overclock up pretty soon. This is even after he swapped off the hero. Stalker actually kind of trailing behind as of right now. And so I think that really speaks volumes to how much damage Lethal is actually putting into these team fights. It's just about Nightmare being able to capitalize on that. And so now that they've got control of this point, Lethal just let this rip.
Good shot from Lethal, double tap scaled up from across the map. Orbital Ray's going to come through onto the point, but Chio's down. Both supports now dead for Team Falcons. There was a server room push there from Hanbin, but Lethal sniped Proper out of the sky. And there's the quick flip to Nightmare.
Yeah, even though Team Falcons actually did sneak away a couple of percent, Nightmare were always going to win out that fight at the end of the day. And the fact that they did that versus an Orbital Ray, I think is amazing. Nightmare only invest the overclock into this, and they get to hold on to both these support ultimates that are going to be coming up pretty shortly. And so Orbital Ray advantage for them. I think that fights a lot better into the Kitsune rush than kind of the vice versa of this rally. So Nightmare look like they're going to have a bit of an advantage, but double blade.
Yeah, Zera's already killed Chio though, looking for more. Falcons have backed up. Again, a small trade here. Every single fight has been a back and forth so far as Cover finds Proper maybe lacking a little bit. Has to dash away, already used the deflects. Downpour on the high ground, a Stalker shut down. The downpour is enough damage to kill him off. Cage on the point, but look at Cover trying to stay alive. Spike Guard end up running out of ammunition, unfortunately. That rally, not enough to actually save the tank in the front line. Hanbin ends up getting bashed, but Nightmare, now they're fleeing.
but the rally is actually good enough to be able to provide enough sustain for Nightmare to actually get 75%. And this composition has been enough of a problem. We're actually going to see Stalker switch over to the Sombra. I mean, giving up this Sojourn duel completely, and Stalker, with this amount of time that's left in the bank, hopefully is going to be able to build up to the EMP, because that's really what the Sombra is trying to accomplish here, outside of just being able to shut down Kuffa going after these backline supports.
Blade for Proper. Maybe he can show Zera how it's done. Zera currently hacked. There's the Blade, popped into the backline. Nice little slash and a dash. Oh, and that's a double for Proper. Make that a triple. Make that a quadra kill for Proper.
Huge numbers for Proper to be able to put up, and unfortunately Kuffa denies him of potentially being able to get that ace. But let's watch this Dragon Blade back again. I mean, even though we saw the power slide away from Lethal, Proper timed his dash back there perfectly, and Kuffa's actually gonna get caught out on this ledge with Team Falcons approaching 90% now and counting, and they've got an orbital ray. I mean, this could be good. Nightmare's hopes for this round fall on Lethal to be able to get this pick on Proper.
Proper's completely caught. Lethal finds the perfect pick there for Nightmare, but they've lost cover in the front line already. The orbital ray is going to be so hard to fight into. Lethal does end up getting slammed down onto the ground. Just 99% for Team Falcons, requires Nightmare to go for a touch. They are unable to do so. 75% on the board though for Nightmare. You've got to be feeling confident, considering Falcons here in the upper bracket. We know how far they can go when they always go. World champions from last year here to make, well, just get another trophy under their belt, it feels like.
That's why you logically think that Team Falcons might be the one to be able to actually win out this match, but that was such a close affair on that first round. You absolutely have to look at Nightmare as a true threat. And for Team Falcons, you know, this tournament has actually kind of been maybe a little bit unexpected for them. We do normally see them with just full confidence running through an entire bracket, but they lost a map to OWCS. They also had a close 5-map series that could have gone the way of once again. And now Nightmare. What if they're the ones that actually send Team Falcons down to the lower bracket? Falcons have gotten close to losing, so maybe it's gonna be Nightmare that can dish that loss out to them.
It'll be a historical feat. You picked it up at the very start. Like, unprecedented, Rose.
It would be amazing.
Zera here.
Yeah, Farah not getting banned out. Zera's actually going to be the one that's going to lock into that choice. And I think that's where you need to see Team Falcons really play positionally around this Farah. There's a couple of good points for you to take these team fights, and maybe just ignore the Farah completely.
That's exactly what they've done. Nice little charge there onto the front line. Points not capped just yet, even though they've got the player advantage. Farah can be such a deadly tool in these fights here too, being able to poke through these small windows. But yeah, Admiral dead. Sleeping with the fishes now. Proper gets out as well. Nice little cap from Team Falcons. We'll see if how much they want to pressure them now.
But you can see that's exactly the Falcons' game plan. Even though Zera is on this Farah, completely ignore it. Try to be able to win out that frontline duel versus Kuffa as well as Admiral. And Team Falcons also can play this where the Farah is going to struggle to actually get an angle on top of the team. Farah's entire purpose in this matchup is to make sure you can get this enormous splash damage onto Hanbin, force out this cardiac overdrive early, and actually force him away.
Oh, nice wall there from Kuffa. Sets up Zera with the easiest rocket of his life. Like you said, that cardiac overdrive thing forced it out, Rose, forcing him to back off. Nice headshot from Lethal, and there's the flip for Nightmare. Proper's going to make it a little bit more painful, or at least try to. He's still alive, but not for long.
There you go. Now Nightmare is going to be able to get themselves on the board in this round, and this is where we're going to start to see these ultimates peek their heads up. Fielder with a Kitsune Rush is going to be good for Team Falcons to actually get through this chokehold, which is where Nightmare's going to want to play. With this Farah angle, you just get that splash damage down into any of these rooms, so that's where we see Stalker actually try to take this flank up to the high ground. Maybe catch Zera off guard.
Oh, they're really checking every corner there. You see that? Just disruptor shot, making sure no one's hiding. Rush for Fielder. Ideally here, you wrap to the point, right? Use the rush or use the rush in the mid to cut Nightmare in half. This barrage from Zera is going to be scary. Already got that first minor perk on Line Rose, so it's going to be able to move inside the barrage.
But you got to make sure that Proper doesn't have that deflect up before you go.
He messed up the conk. Stalker takes the kill. There's the rush on the point, going to get matched with the Ray here, but Falcons are in a nice position. Harbin, though, couldn't quite say the same for him, however. The rally, the blade from Proper is going to be nice, but the orbital race healing everybody up. He manages to secure one kill, but can he get more? A nice bash from Admiral will shut Proper down.
that was a huge investment of a fight, and it's gonna go the way of Nightmare more economically as well. You still have that downpour as well as that barrage that Zera had earned up previous to this fight. This map just went poorly for Falcons. Even Stalker's gonna go switch over to the Sombra because they know they've really got to get in there without falling victim to this barrage, but it's coming, Jaws.
Barrage and downpour. Oh, Conk kind of messed up again, Zera! That's the second time in a row. The Conk ends up messing up. He doesn't move himself far enough away and he gets taken out first. A manual hack onto Cuffer and Falcons descend on their prey. He manages to get out, but Falcons have the positioning and they might just get the points. A nice little reflect there from Popper. Doesn't find all too much, but they've got to stay alive now. With the cage coming up, it might be quite easy, but Zera with a 2K with the barrage. He finds another one off the back of that too as Chio falls down. Team Falcons only have Harbin left now on the point versus 3. And not even a god Mauga like Harbin can stay alive here. There's the flip again for Nightmare and a delayed touch from Falcons, but the inevitable is drawing close.
Really good here for Nightmare to be able to keep themselves in this map, but Stalker finds Zera again.
Third time in a row here, Zera has fallen first. They managed to get a miracle touch, and Proper has all CDs available to him so he can stay alive. The solo kill, the double kill, what was that, Proper? Double for Proper, championship winning play already, make that a third. How does he keep doing this? How does he keep impressing? 58% and counting for Falcons, and Rose, they are closing in on that EMP.
And that is so rough. Nightmare were that close to being able to actually get to this third round at Lijiang Tower. But now, even Zera's gonna be making a pivot, going over to the Genji. That bar has been caught out just a couple too many times. And so Nightmare, at least with this Genji, can actually play together as a team a little bit more around this rally. And so Nightmare gotta go in and they gotta go quick. But Soccer's got the EMP now.
Lethal is super low too. Rose, they're all splitting up right now. You can see Cuffer also on an off angle.
They can't get caught by this EMP. That's why they're split up right now. But Cuffa is actually going to get hacked here as Admiral goes for the rally, and that's where we might be able to see the showdown.
Rally to touch, EMP hits too, but where's the follow-up? Orbital Rain now on the point, and Falcons have to fight through it. Proper's got the blade, he's landed a slash already onto Lethal, gets the reset straight back into the fray of the fights. The break, though, is just too much. Ultraviolet takes him down with pulsar torpedoes, and Admiral finds another. The supportive backbone of Nightmare have done it. And over time, it ticks through, and that's 1-1 now on Lijiang.
Everyone talks about that supportive backbone of Team Falcons, but let's gas up this Nightmare backline. I think you just saw it in spades how much improvement Admiral has made as a competitive Overwatch player. When we last saw Admiral, the highlight of him really was that Lucio being able to play for the Overwatch League team, London Spitfire, but quickly found himself on the outs of that team and really running the gauntlet here in North America. And now that Brigitte, immaculate. Admiral was such a huge piece of success for that Nightmare round. Just all of those rallies, making sure that Inspired Healing was going to really give that survivability for Cuffa and Ultraviolet. So Ultraviolet as well just can't get caught out. Actually can keep on extending these fights with all of that support healing.
Now Stalker, his turn on the far and now Rose. Different looks from both sides, both sets of DPS. Happy to lock in the Pharah. Mitch was saying on the desk, you know, you have to ban this away from Stalker on a control point, and we might just see why. Zera already dead. This Team Falcons, they're in a prime position to cap.
But just because Zera is down doesn't mean that Nightmare are completely out of the fight. We've seen this a couple of times. Even though Zera was the first picked in a lot of market, Nightmare were still able to win out those fights at the end of the day. As Zera also sees the Stalker Pharah pick and goes, guess what? Well then, if you're gonna play Pharah, why do I not just give this another shot as well? And take a look at the angle that he's taking. Zera is already gonna be able to lock down a lot of his fights and force Team Falcons to actually play versus Nightmare in the mid.
Oh, there he goes. Taking down the idol, and maybe soon to be rival in Proper. Nice little slam to the backline though. Harbin doesn't want to make this that close, but Lethal finds a kill. Weaves it past Harbin there. A rather burly man, Mauga. But Lethal still finds the angle.
Hanbin's okay overextending here because the name of the game in this situation is you know that you're already down a player. You may as well just go ahead and throw your body at the spawn and see if you can extend your control at this point just a little bit longer. Team Falcons are able to walk away with 41% as Nightmare, now they start their own control. And let's take a look at this ultimate pick. Admiral's gonna be the first one up. Let's see this rally. It's been such a big difference maker in these fights on Lijiang Tower so far for Nightmare. It could be a fight win again for Nightmare to extend their lead.
I mean, UV also has got 5% towards his, and Chio's 15% away. They could go fast if they want it. Lethal, overclock, Zera in the front line, Hanbin the main focus, Cardiac Overdrive already used, Proper in the sidelines of Lethal right now, but he sniped Builder. All deflects, all dash is gone from Proper, and there's Nightmare winning that fight.
And off the back of just the overclock as well as the rally. Yes, okay, Lethal's gonna get caught out here, but it doesn't really matter too much when Lethal's got the power slide to come back into these fights, and you're still gonna be playing around this midpoint. Team Falcons have the cage, so this is gonna be very important for Nightmare to be wary of. They don't want to get caught by this.
Orbital Ray, that needs to connect. That has to help Kuffer in there, but nope. Cage, Blade, Ray, everything basically thrown in by Falcons there. They got the barrage and the Kitsune rush to back them up next fight though.
I think it's okay though. I mean, Nightmare get out 3 ultimates from Team Falcons pockets. Yeah, they still have the barrage as well as this rush, but I think Nightmare are very excited to be able to have this wombo combo of this downpour as well as the barrage. There's a couple of ways to be able to pincer Team Falcons on this point, and you can already see Kuffa trying to take the angle to get to Chio.
Chio's just gonna fly away. Yeah, see you later. And now Kuffa's just not in the fight. Barrage is connecting from Proper though. Distraction technique, but Stalker's gonna do him one better. A double kill for the Farah. And overtime is swiftly approaching Rose. We're 75%. Stalker 30 HP in the skies, but Chio's there. Same with Fielder to back him up, heal him all the way back up to full.
I mean, Stalker's backed off though, and this is actually going to give Nightmare a little bit more space to work with. Kuffa still hasn't used that downpour, so that's going to be a great way to be able to lock down somebody like Hanbin or even Fielder. And Lethal, let's not count him out as just a raw overclock kill.
Prop is dead. He got whip-shotted into the wall there. Admiral finds an amazing initial pick. That wall is also kind of annoying for Hanbin, in all honesty. Downpour, does it connect? It connected with Fielder by the looks of things. I think Nightmare, or Falcons even, happy to lose this fight. They've got 99 on the board, and they've got a couple more chances here to win this first map.
Yeah, but they don't have any ultimates right now. So it really is going to be on the onus of Nightmare to set the pace of this next fight. With Rally, they have Ray advantage because Ultraviolet is so close. Homer pulls out torpedoes, and that's going to be Nightmare being able to send that Ray down main. And Lethal, also another overclock. Nightmare have the ultimate economy, and we're in last fight. I think Nightmare could do this.
What a pick. Ultraviolet dies, and Admiral with the emergency Q button, but he instantly gets destroyed. Kuffa's traded one, but Proper's already capping the point. Team Falcons, despite almost double support ultimates from Nightmare, they've just got and won it. An overtime touch here for Kuffa does trigger it, but it's not really going to matter. Proper's also just holding the door. 100 to almost 99 there. Nightmare, they're looking good, but Falcons looking better.
Almost felt like Nightmare just needed a couple more seconds, but Team Falcons being able to get that first pick in that last fight just pushed them into panic mode. You already called that out. I mean, like, panic ultimate coming through, but when you aren't able to get that set up to be able to utilize those 3 ults coming online, that's just a loss. And so I think Nightmare probably not too happy about how that map played out because there was a clear win condition on the board and it got taken away from them.
Yeah, you hit the rally there. As soon as Ultraviolet goes down, you kind of have to, and then you get punished for it. Hanbin jumps straight on top of you. That initial pick on Ultraviolet, like you said, that's crucial.
They were so close to Ray.
Exactly. You go down there with 5% away, like, the game's pretty much over. And the ultimate economy game just slipped through their fingers. Falcons off to a good start, though, winning that first map, but Nightmare making it pretty damn close.
And that gives me so much hope for this series because I think Nightmare, they just have to make sure that their mental is going to be iron stead for the rest of the series. And they absolutely do, you're right. Plus, they've got the crowd behind them. The crowd was cheering for them so loud, and I feel like they can still feel that coming through for this series. We could already hear with, like, you know, Zera, Lito getting these picks. Okay, this Proper Blade was disgusting, though. And I think at the end of the day, if Proper can keep putting up numbers like that, it's still going to keep the series very competitive.
Later on as well, I'm sure we got a clip of it, but Proper coming back in OT, getting this double kill. Look at this dash. Oh, that is perfect. Edge dashing like that at the perfect point, right-clicking through the head, like, oh, gross stuff.
But I think that was also an example of Nightmare almost fumbling the bag a little bit, because in that moment, you could see Nightmare, they have control. They've got 99%. The overtime is starting to expire, and then Proper comes in with a massive hero play. And that is ultimately, you know, it's just kind of, it's tough in those moments because, like, yes, Nightmare still come back and we go to that third round, but you could have won sooner, you know?
Can you call it a hero play when he does it so often?
Ooh.
It's a heroic event. He saves the point, but that, I feel like, is just an everyday Proper occurrence, in all honesty. He's just that good. An idol to many, a rival to few. Nightmare now, chance to pick a map. Now, obviously, the other day when we saw Falcons, we actually saw them lose this this Hanbin Mauga mirror the other day, which was very surprising to a lot of people because, you know, this is probably their best look, especially looking at last year when it was perma Mauga meta. Where do you expect we go? A push map perhaps, and then maybe ban something like a Mauga? Or do you want to maybe match them in this kind of dive? Because Hazard is also probably going to be on the cards for a ban on Team Falcon's side.
That's true. And so it does come down to this ban strategy. The Desk talked about this a lot already, but Nightmare have been really good at being able to identify the key heroes that are going to be the most impactful from their opponents and finding a way to not just shut those down, but also protect their own strategies. I think for Kuffa, this Hazard is certainly going to be on the table for the rest of the series. Whether or not you actually want to try your chances again versus this Mauga, I mean, it went fine on Lijiang Tower. We were just like seconds away from seeing a Nightmare victory. And so seeing this King's Row, I think you could still lean into the Hazard here, but we'll see whether or not they actually want to ban out this Mauga.
Yeah, you can play Rush here if you really want to. You can play a little bit more dive-oriented with the Hazard, like you said. Going to be an Ana ban for Nightmare. We'll see how Falcons want to follow this one up. Pretty annoying versus the Hazard. Annoying versus the Mauga as well, to be fair.
But I kind of wonder then if Falcons actually respond. Okay, they actually respond with a Pharah ban.
Okay.
Interesting. Maybe just seeing how much impact Zera had actually had on that Pharah in that first map. Because you could feel it. And yes, despite the fact that Zera actually got picked off first quite often, it didn't matter because the rest of Nightmare had his back. And I think that's something that's been very impressive about this Nightmare roster in particular. Kuffa sometimes out of the equation because he's diving onto the backline, but it's because he trusts the rest of his team to be able to follow up. And even though Zera might be taking an off angle and sacrifices his own life, enough of a distraction that Nightmare with the rest of that 4-player squad can get the job done in these fights.
Saw Sparkle there for a brief moment. Backroom staff, we spoke about it yesterday in the Falcons game. Rose? Sparkle was a prodigy in and himself. Going into the Overwatch League, when he eventually turned of age to actually get picked up by an OWL team, like the bids were going through the roof for Sparkle, just a prodigy type player. Lived up to it in his moments, but now he's taking a backroom staff role in the coach, and you can see him sitting behind the rest of Team Falcons now. So we're going to King's Row. Ana ban, Pharah ban. Yeah, I think Zera had a pretty decent impact on the Pharah. Very good map, especially on first. Being able to jostle around the buildings is quite nice. We've seen a ton of Pharah on this map. She's just very, very good right now with the perks. The moving barrage and the concussive implosion. You've seen many highlights over the weekend of how deadly that is, coupled with a barrage.
Yeah, I mean, you just bring everybody together and absolutely smash them.
It's a Halt. Halt was
so
one of the most broken abilities in the game when Orisa had Halt. Like,
That's
it was
true.
It's not quite a mini grab, but it does the job.
But it's nice because that means that Pharah really can't operate as that solo agent. So instead of actually combining the barrage with something like the downpour or like a Terror Surge from an Orisa nowadays, but Pharah can do it all by herself. And so the Pharah ban makes a lot of sense. Maybe that means we're going to see a little bit more Genji and Sojourn? Or do we finally get a chance to actually see this Tracer play and see the Tracer duel come out of these teams?
I would love to see some Tracer. I do want to see the Zera Tracer versus Proper, in all honesty. Or Stalker, to be fair. Either one of them. Tracer's beast. So, a lot of shoe love in the crowd as well, of course. Crazy Raccoon currently waiting down in that lower bracket. Can Nightmare be the Titan killers? Can they stand up now against Team Falcons and knock them down to face Crazy Raccoon and guarantee themselves a spot in the finals?
I mean, that first map indicates yes. The potential is there. The team has it in them. They just have to draw on all of that power and individual star level to actually take the victory. And so as we load into King's Row, we can actually start to get a little bit of a feel of where these teams want to start to push their compositions. Team Falcons on the defense first. We're going to see Hanbin leave spawn with this D.Va as we see a Fielder Zen.
A Fielder Zen. I like that a lot. It's very, very punishing for the Hazard. Obviously, right now, Kuffer is hovering the Winston. And something we did see a little bit early, yesterday was this. Hangzhou from Lethal. Crazy Raccoon was not expecting, Liv especially, was not expecting the Hangzhou to come out, and he got insta-logged by the Hangzhou. So I want to see if Lethal does stick on this, unless it's just like a Sonic out of the game.
How do you like the Zenyatta, though, into this Ramatra Nightmare? Already see the combination that Team Falcons have on this defense.
Stalker's
and,
like, nope.
Yeah.
I saw what happened to Liv yesterday. Get me on
Saw the Sonic
please.
arrow fly by you and absolutely pieces out of there.
Yep, see ya. Yeah, I don't mind it at all, right? There's...
Oh.
Okay, Lethal. He does it again on
Fielder
point
didn't
A,
get the
King's Row.
memo.
This is his point, man. I don't know what to say. Fielder down, no more worry now about the Discord orb, so Kuffer has a lot more freedom.
Oh, come on. Zera's got... Oh.
Yeah, Zera's got this. Maybe first game jitters or first map jitters for Zera. Definitely shrugged those off at this point. Harmid also falls. That's point A. Going over to Nightmare. They're going to get the payload going.
Nah, poor Fielder just got collapsed on again as well. And I actually kind of wouldn't be surprised to see Fielder consider a different hero choice there, as we actually see the Brigitte now come out from him, as well as the Mauga from Hanbin. I mean, this has been a very classic choice for Team Falcons. It worked out for them great on Lijiang Tower and has in the previous series that they've already played in the Champions Clash tournament. But Mauga versus Ramatra, this can be tough. The Ramatra could just go in and punch you to death.
Yeah, it can be tough for Mauga to stand up in that versus the Nemesis form, but in the neutral here without Nemesis form, the Mauga definitely winning. Cardiac overdrive to push Kuffer back, force Nemesis form, and then yeah, back off. Don't want to find any more damage with that. Dragon Strike almost available.
But I mean, the longer these fights go, though, the more time that Lethal has to get a headshot and an elimination.
Yeah. To randomly find a log from across the map. I mean, he needs one more arrow here or a little bit of time, and he's got the Dragon Strike, and an incredibly frustrating place to play against it in this small street, but they've got to be expecting it. Dragon Strike through the walls, gonna split the team, but Proper's happy with that. Proper finds two. Oh, and a deflected arrow to the face as Proper hunts for a third kill. 4.5 minutes to go. Orbital Ray sent out by Chio to aid in that victory in that fight. They're gonna try and stagger Kuffer here.
Lethal sees that the Hangzhou was a great point A hero pick, but now goes over to the Sojourn to be able to match Stalker. And I think it's also better on some of these straightaways that you have on the second point of King's Row, and also just considering where we're going to go for the third point as well. But yeah, I mean, Orbital Ray committed there. I think you had to. Just knowing that the Dragon Strike split up the team, you needed to have that additional healing investment. But Proper has the blade already too.
He saved it. Oh, he doesn't quite get to Lethal though. Nice little slide away and a headshot. Style points for Lethal. The Nemesis form and the annihilation being pulled by Kuffer 2 should be a fairly easy cleanup for the gang. And there it is, payload are moving through the streets. Well, Falcons, they still have one more touch here before this point's capped, though.
Yeah, but they're going to have to play into this Orbital Ray and Blade combo. And it's going to be very difficult to take down Zera unless maybe you get a big deflect kill or something like that. But look at how far forward Nightmare are playing because they know they have that Orbital Ray ready to go in their sails. And Kappa already spots out Proper, has to send him running.
Maybe a little bit pissed about that, wasn't it? Vortex looked like it trapped Proper on the floor. Well, there's the Orbital Ray and the Blade pulled by Zera. Should be a pretty easy feat, but not if Stalker has anything to say about it. Nice headshot finishes off the Blade, and Genji is Proper find himself in the backline once again with the solo kill onto Lethal. Big trade though in the front line as Covers. Nemesis form does end up running out. A Ravenous Vortex and a Shield Dance there to try and dish as much damage out as possible to harm him with this cage. It's going to prove quite cumbersome to deal with. The Mauga is just running over this front line now, and they managed to hold to this payload.
I mean, even with the healing investment that came through from Admiral, that cage on top of the fact that Hanbin had that cardiac overdrive, it was just taking too long for Kappa to actually finish up on those softened up HP pools. So unfortunately, Nightmare gets stopped in their tracks just shy of capturing the second objective. And so now they've got to look at another ultimate rotation. Overclock is almost there for Lethal, so maybe that can help here. But Stalker being able to shut down that Dragon Blade was pivotal in that last fight.
Yeah, that was the win con. Like you pointed out, the Ray Blade should be super easy. There's the push from Falcons. Ray deployed, Proper finds Lethal yet again. Deflects, no dash, has to finish off the good old-fashioned way. And his blade is as sharp as ever.
And that means that Lethal can't invest the overclock here, but they're investing the rally?
Nice bash. Fielder didn't expect Admiral to just assault him that way. Just his whole self launched into the backline with a rally. And in a 4v5, Nightmare clutched this fight out. And that good Vortex too, that being pulled to the floor ends Stalker's life. 1 minute and 20 seconds. An extra little bit of time here added. Almost 3 minutes to push into third. What an amazing rally bash there from Admiral.
It was so good. I think Nightmare have identified a really important win condition against Team Falcons. Similarly to how Proper is going after Ultraviolet and Admiral, what if Nightmare just try to go against Fielder and Chio? Just walk onto the backline and just completely take them out of the equation. And now Nightmare, they've got Annihilation here. The overclock from Lethal can get let ripped.
Chio is just too far forward there. Cover is in the danger zone. Critical health bar, but Ultraviolet and Admiral keep him alive, and they've actually earned an Orbital Ray thanks to it. The play from Proper, though, could be deadly. He's waiting for his chance to go in. The Orbital Ray is not a good chance for Proper just yet, so he manages to scurry to the high ground. A blade pulled by Zera, however. Proper dashes straight into him, thinking he can get the kill. But Zera's blade, merely a little bit of fear rooted in Falcons there. That's about it. And Proper's still got his own, and Falcons too also have a cage. So this ult dump from Nightmare netted them nothing.
No, and they've got to back up because Kappa's still coming back from spawn. But you have some time to work with here. Minute 40, that should be about 2 more attempts from Nightmare, and a good opportunity for you to get out this cage blade combination from Falcons before maybe you can go in with an overclock rally of your own. But they've got to force out these ults.
Oh, good cage though in the back line. Yeah, there's the blade. Proper just, he's just dirty with it. Hasn't got an extra dash, but it doesn't matter. Cupper's down, Admiral in the front line. Without that Juno, there's no chance for you to survive. There's a minute and a little bit to go. A regroup here from Nightmare, pivotal.
But this is exactly what they wanted to play for. No cage, no blade, an orbital ray to Chio's name, but that's kind of it. So Nightmare actually do have the time to be able to push past with this minute and maybe even capture this third point because Admiral's got another rally, and you know what big things he's been able to do with this ult.
Looked like he wanted to go in there. Here's Hanbin back in the back line again, but the orbital ray very, very early. And Zera booped into the wall. That perk helping Fielder secure that kill. Admiral falls, and that was the rally gone. A big trade with, again, nothing gained. 30 seconds to go, and Falcons trying to stagger as many members of Nightmare as humanly possible.
Still time to work with, though, because this is going to be another full 5v5 attempt. But it is a close hold coming through from Team Falcons. They know they can try to stop them in their tracks here, so they can stop them from getting to the card.
Zera almost got caught out there. There's actually Field that goes down. They're still on the high ground with Nightmare still having to touch, remember. Proper's in the back line, find himself on an island, and he's cut to smithereens by Zera. Lethal still trying to help the high ground peeps out, but the payload is moving away from them.
Payload moving, Stalker, Overclock, Kappa kind of by himself, but you could hear the cheers from the arena for this Overclock.
But Shio is dead. Overclock, Annihilation on the point. Proper pulls the blade. Stalker 2 ripping his own OC. Can they actually find these kills though? Zera, oh, he gets duped by Stalker. Stalker is so low. Can still maybe survive and get back to the rest of his team, but Zera finishes him off with just a plain shuriken. Overtime ticking down. And so are the health bars for Team Falcons. There's the completion for Nightmare.
It was a hard battle, but they did it at the end of the day to be able to secure all 3 points on King's Row. And I think it does come down to the wire. Really smart play, though, to be able to just kind of macro go for forcing out those ultimates from Team Falcons, understanding that they still had enough time if they took those fights early to get that 3rd contest, and with ults to spare of their own.
Zera being able to secure the kill onto Stalker, that was just so pivotal. Stalker getting the kill onto Zera just nets him a high ground advantage or even a backline advantage, and that's a very different fight. See what Nightmare want to do on their defense. Going to rock out with the same thing. Now, this is where I'm curious. How do Falcons now approach this? They didn't start with the Mauga. They do have a chance to change. And I wonder if Fielder is actually going to go to the Zen. Didn't stay on it for too long after getting logged by Lethal. But it is a real possibility.
I don't know. I feel like the Zenyatta is just so exploitable. It's so squishy. You can see how Kuffa, with this giant health pool, is so comfortable being able to walk back there. And if you do have the Zenyatta alongside Chio, that's easy pickings. That is simply easy pickings, either for a Ramatra or even this Genji that Zera has locked into for this defense. But as we see Team Falcons leave spawn, okay, we do have the Zenyatta, which will help out with this Ramatra duel as Hanbin starts on that hero, but eventually decides, maybe I can go for something that's going to be a bit faster paced as we see the D.Va lock.
Yeah, D.Va, very easy to get to the high ground. This is becoming a tradition at this point with our Hangzhou on point A attack. Oh, and there's the first kill. And it's Hangzhou again. Admiral taken down by those storm arrows. And Kuffa dead too. Okay. Man, Hangzhou apparently just the most broken character on point A, King's Row.
Well, it's so good because you have such easy access to the high ground, being able to wall climb with the Hangzhou. So I feel like not only do you get the intel from being able to use the Sonic Arrow, but you also just have the ability to really force Nightmare into the position where you can win out that frontline duel at the end of the day. And immediately after they capture that first point, all of that first damage is gone. Team Falcons make a full pivot of their composition to have this Sojourn, Mauga, and Brig as the backbone of this team.
They're just running straight in. I mean, this is Hanbin's specialty here, just dashing to the back and then hoping Proper can follow up with a couple of kills. Going those resets is pretty easy whenever he's down on the ground, but Hanbin taking too much damage. No initial kill, so they can't stay in the fight too long. Remember, just cycling those cardiac overdrives is how they end up doing this. Now Kuffa trying to play doorkeeper, but it is Hanbin once again with his support duo this time, picking up Admiral.
Now that Admiral's down, there should be a big team fight win here for Falcons, unless we see a play come through from the DPS of Nightmare.
Oh, this is a steamroll. This light at the end of the tunnel for Nightmare looking more like a truck at this point. Team Falcons, they've got Blade, they've got Rally, they've got Ray. If they pull these ultimates early, Rose, it's going to be almost impossible for Nightmare to cap second.
And that's why you see Proper actually already pushing towards the spawn of Nightmare, just getting a little bit of poke damage, making sure that when Nightmare actually approach, maybe we're going to see Stalker just have a really big charged railgun shot. But yeah, here, maybe Lethal with an overclock at least can match that and start to force out some ults, but it's a tough road for Nightmare.
Kuffa is so far up, ends up getting bashed, yeah, and Hanbin gets the follow-up stun. Oh, a Rally, a Ray, they're gonna save the Blade, and Lethal, he's just all on his little lonesome, sadly. There is an orbital Ray from Apple, though. They really think they can win this fight, but they've got no damage. They've got 0 damage. Proper ends up pulling Blade to guarantee them the fight, but you really want that Ray back if you're Nightmare.
I think you are okay. I mean, like, yes, you want to have it absolutely in this fight, but you're already so far behind that maybe the orbital ray would be able to actually give you that hero play to dig your heels into the sand and actually stop this payload in its tracks. Because Team Falcons are beating you right now in terms of the ultimate economy, in terms of just being able to muscle their way through, and they still have this overclock to play with.
Overclock, Admiral misses the bash, Stalker sidesteps it. Zera dead already and a beautiful shot. My word, he weaved it. Fielder back on the Zen as well. Such an annoyance for Cover to deal with. And right now, Rose, Nightmare living their worst nightmare. Falcons are just steamrolling them. This is 4.5 minutes and they're on the final push.
And look, Nightmare, like Hail Mary play here, putting lethal on this Widowmaker. Okay, thinking a little bit better of it as Kappa goes over to the Hazard now, so you're gonna play a little bit more of a standard comp, but you can kind of feel the panic set in for Nightmare. Even with the Widowmaker thought, you're just hoping that you can stop this momentum that is snowballed for Team Falcons, and they still have a cage.
Wrong place, wrong time, Zera, and he's got the blade. They really, really needed that in this fight, in this defense. Proper just soloing the backline. He just does it again and again and again. There is nothing stopping Proper. There is nothing stopping Team Falcons. A 3-minute 52-second time bank, and they're gonna get a free attack.
Yeah, with no time left in the bank here for Nightmare, it's only going to be Falcons that get a chance at winning out this map. So Nightmare could only hope for a tie at this point, and it is all smiles for this Falcons squad. They are so happy with how fast they were able to take that King's Row. That attack was not competitive. And I know we were talking a little bit about the Zenyatta choice at the beginning, but the fact that they went back to it, that's how much confidence you can feel. Because there was no stopping that payload or that push, and so amazing amount of space for this Zenyatta to work in.
What is the secret sauce for Nightmare?
I was gonna, no way, it's the Bastion.
Don't look at attack. Don't look.
I'm getting excited, but no. We have to focus on this Nightmare defense because they've got to lock into this for 4 minutes. They don't get a chance to have a mistake. They don't get a chance to go back to spawn and change up their plan. They've got to really lock into this Hazard, Ashe, and Genji.
One of Lethal's best heroes in the Ashe. Also extremely good on the Widowmaker, any kind of long range to medium hit scan. The ability to stay on the high ground is very important too, so we'll see how long he can survive. Proper is going Venture, of all things. We'll see if he ends up... Okay, he's going back, yeah, deciding against the Venture, although I would have loved to see it. In fact, Stalker's just going Bash.
Oh, I was going to say, we drop one silly hero, but we get another one. Stalker with the Bastion, and this is going to make Nightmare's job very difficult. Especially if he can get set up a turret for him. This is explosive. That is a lot of amplified damage.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And he's taking the perk as well. That turns his cannons into rockets. Cuff has been pushed out already. Zera is left alone in this little choke point here. Stalker may be dead, but the rest of the team is gonna follow. And that's it. That's just Falcons taking that one. Right underneath their noses. Team Falcons now on a match point against Nightmare. Another day in the books. World champions from last year. Fist bumps all round as Sparkle, with a big smile on his face, knowing that a finals placement here is almost guaranteed.
That was a very difficult situation to be in if you were Nightmare. A 4-minute time bank just to get a third of the pie on that first point. It almost feels inevitable, especially at this level of Overwatch. Just with so much time in the bank, you're able to work up to ultimates and then just make sure you've got the economy to win. So I think Nightmare, they gotta, again, kind of brush their shoulders off, kind of dust themselves off and focus up for this third map.
Yeah, third map, their choice of map and their choice of ban first as well. Nightmare and even Zera coming into this, you know, it's not every day you play against an idol of yours, and he was rather chuffed that Proper said that he might just be the future of Overwatch Esports.
And he still is. I think you have to take a look at how Nightmare are performing outside of just this individual lens of this match. And even if just you look at that first map, actually, like, it's quite close. it's coming down to these very small margins of error in terms of how these teams are matching up against each other. Lethal getting a pick is really opening things up for Nightmare, and Kind, Stalker being able to shut down an ultimate is a huge win condition that we've seen from Team Falcons too.
I mean, Nightmare, you look at that game against Crazy Raccoon, right? People were saying, is this one of the greatest upsets in Overwatch esports history?
It feels like it.
It definitely felt like it. It's up there, for sure. Like Crazy Raccoon, a team that, even in their region, they have a positive win rate against Team Falcons. No one expected Crazy Raccoon to get knocked down like that. Everybody was expecting 3-1, 3-0 kind of deal, and that's not what we were given. Zera had a life game on the Tracer. Now I wonder where we pivot to. We still have Push to potentially be played. Of course, you can't play any kind of hybrid map at this point. Maybe Push is going to be where they pivot to, and they still have this Mauga ban in the back pocket for Harbin, which is very good on a push or even a flashpoint as well, to be fair.
I think this is exactly where they're saving that Mauga ban for. Kind of wait for the we're down 0-2 and now we really have to win a map in this series. So I'm with you. I think we could see an Esperanza and actually see that Mauga ban come through. So either Kuffa can really focus on being able to play the Hazard or the Winston, because his Winston is great and we haven't really seen that come out in the series yet. And it's because that Mauga has been such a problem. It would be really difficult for Kuffa to execute on a Winston dive here.
Yeah, and then what does the backline do there for Falcons? Because they could, again, go very greedy. Ideally, you don't have the Zen on a push map, but hear me out, you could. It does make your life a living hell on the tank. We, of course, can play Escort 2. Route 66 is where really Zera stamped his name. That map yesterday, if you want to watch world-class Tracer play, watch yesterday's game with Nightmare on Route 66. Look at Zera, look at the kill feed, look at his first-person POV. It was gross. I'm sure OWCS is going to have the first-person POVs at some point as well.
Absolutely.
Up on YouTube. So, yeah, it was disgusting. And it might require them to go to Route 66 again. It's definitely going to be a map that, in their minds, is going to feel very comfortable.
It's so tough because I think with this map choice as well, you have to consider we want to win this next map, and then we want to make sure we win the next one.
Sure.
And so you have to maybe think, okay, well, if we're thinking about a map 4, then we also need to see if we can actually protect some of our map choices, and maybe you're okay kind of seeing any sort of escort come through. But even though it's not Esperanza, it's Runasapi, and that was a very, very quick ban decision.
Yeah, get Mauga out of here, man. Reminds me of last patch, like, please, no more Mauga. Look, now how do Falcons respond, Rose?
Well, you can't ban out the Pharah, and so I think it's very interesting that they're going to ban out the Sojourn.
You can play Pharah on this map. You can also play Tracer Genji.
Yep, you could.
So, no Sojourn. Lethal can pivot, of course, to something like an Ashe, but if Falcons see that the Ashe, Tracer Genji is going to, unfortunately, eat her alive.
Absolutely. I think that is a really good call out for what the DPS lineup could go for. But I'm kind of, I feel like not really sure where this one's going to go, because a lot of these teams have actually opted to stay away from a Sojourn ban because it hurts their own DPS lineup. And so what a rare occurrence for us to actually see Sojourn. Yeah, exactly. Like Falcons is maybe one of the only teams that would be able to actually ban out the Sojourn without fear of it being a detriment to their own DPS line.
Yeah, we'll see where they want to end up pivoting. I love the Mauga ban. I think it's great. Now, where does Harbin go? I think a Winston is perfectly viable here. I think that's completely fine. Or even D.Va.
Yep. For the most part from Harbin, we have seen him lock into either the Winston or the D.Va if he's unable to play the Mauga, or he sees that maybe the Winston or the D.Va is a bit more favorable into the composition that the opposition is running. So I think D.Va makes a lot of sense here, but you have to assume that Kuffa might actually consider still playing the Hazard here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe like Hazard with a Tracer Genji.
Absolutely. Very well adept on the Hazard. Even a ramp. I think this is fine for Nightmare in terms of their hero pool. Like, they want to get this Mauga out, and like you said, at some point in the series, they have to pull the trigger. They have to click the emergency Mauga ban button. This is and it might be the only opportunity they get to do it. So picking this one up and going to Runasapi seems like the perfect pick for me. I just saw over the shoulder there, a couple was hovering Ram, but let's see if he really locks that one in. Let's go, let's load into the third map. Team Falcons on match point. A place in the grand finals awaits them. A pretty usual spot for Team Falcons to be in. NTMR, they're the one to find the upset, but it requires a reverse sweep from here on out.
But if there is a team that can do it, I believe NTMR is going to be that bastion of hope. The last team standing of these Western teams. So you've got to think NTMR could get the job done, and especially knowing that the rest of the world is behind them in this moment. But as we see these teams lock in and those gates open, NTMR are going to be relying once again on this Ramatra composition. And for Falcons, a rare Orisa pick coming out from Hanbin. We have not seen him do this at all in this tournament. But now it's the time. Orisa has a pretty good matchup into this Ram.
Like that Lethal's playing the Cassidy too. Cassidy versus Cassidy here. Stalker also picking that one up. All right, point unlocked now. Harmon slowly moving on. And this is the thing that Harmon needs to do. He just needs to put himself in between Kuffer and the rest of his team. Orisa very well adept at doing that. And Stalker's on a really nice angle too. And there's the first blood, and of course, it's at the hands of Proper. He ends up getting taken down, but from the high ground, Stalker is like shooting fish in a barrel.
Ooh, look at that though. Zera is actually going to equalize this team fight, as Hanbin is going to be the next to fall. But Fielder as well, I think you just saw Tiny Overwatch and what Admiral is capable of in there.
Goodbye, Stalker. Yeah, goodbye, team. Okay, Zera. All right, equalizing that fight there on the Tracer.
But this is the hero that we've wanted to be able to actually see Zera perform on. It was a huge staple in that Crazy Raccoon game, and now it's going to end up being a big difference maker in this map as well. As we see NTMR keep control of this push bot and start to gain that lead, that pulse ball. Let's see where Zera is going to be able to throw it. His sticks have been amazing so far this tournament.
Just unbelievable sticks. Speaking of which, oh, Fielder a little bit too sharp.
Unfortunate.
Shield turn, hits it, and yeah, pulse bomb denied.
But there's still a lot more that NTMR can work with here. They're going to be able to utilize this high noon from Lethal, even if it's just going to be to reload. But I'm really looking at the fact that Admiral's going to have this rally in a couple of %. Yeah,
it's a big old dump fight here. For both sides, you've got to imagine. High noon for Lethal, spots Fielder. Another swift shield there, saves Fielder's life. Cover, unfortunately, on the wrong end of Proper's shurikens. That rally coming through from Fielder. Just gonna let them a fight win.
Yeah, but this lead probably isn't going to get captured here by Team Falcons. NTMR can come back in as a full team of 5 with an annihilation, as well as being able to hold on to that rally. It's going to be tough, though. I mean, the fact that Chio has that orbital ray and Proper's going to have this Genji, it's great ways for them to be able to lock down in place, and it looks like they are going to stop this push bot from being able to get that lead for Falcons.
Hanbin just AFK in the corner. Classic Orisa moment.
Well, he has Terror
Here's the
Surge.
orbital ray, however, and yeah, straight to the back line. Hanbin goes, or at least tries to. There's the blade, the Terror Surge on top as well, making it oh so easy for Proper. The bot has been stolen away, however. Currently running up that hill, up and resetting back to the midpoint, but Kuffer is in trouble. Has got the annihilation and decides to pull it, but it looks like the rest of Falcons are able to dodge out of the way. It's taking a little bit too much for them, though, as Proper ends up going down to the flail of Admiral.
But look at this, with another pick onto Hanbin, NTMR just get a chance to extend their lead. And if they can take down the rest of this backline from Team Falcons, they can take this checkpoint too.
Oh, the barrage. Oh, and it's a moving one too. Good luck hitting that one. There is a Lethal off onto the sidelines here, but I think he's arrived a little bit too late.
Yeah, I mean, now NTMR have lost those player advantages,
Ooh, don't get picked. Oh,
it's Proper being able to take that too. Ultraviolet has no choice except to go for the reset. But still, good percentage on the board here in the first 4 minutes of this map, and another chance to come back in and stop Team Falcons from taking the lead. Kuffa's already getting prepared for what Team Falcons are going to throw at them next, but it's a pretty even fight in the neutral. No ultimates. Comes down to Zera and Lethal.
Secured there by Team Falcons.
But
On
checkpoint.
this high ground, just being a menace. Cover getting spear spun away so they can get the checkpoint, but not quite. Rose,
Very close.
very, very close. I'd say like a 0.1 meter or something silly.
Yeah, but at least they were able to stop that and can actually hold this corner. Gives Lethal a bit of space. You can already see him checking for a flank, though, coming through from Proper or Stalker. As now it's going to be time to focus up as Fielder hits the rally.
Yeah, Fielder hitting the rally and just a stun bash forward. Lethal already dead, actually, to Proper, who dashed towards him. That's going to be checkpoint, you've got to say, for Team Falcons. Nightmare's chances here of staying in the upper bracket are dwindling with every death. Nice little spear spin to push the Ramatra away, and they're going to have to respond with an orbital ray. But Gio's going to unleash the same thing as Admiral ends up going down, Proper with the blade still as well. A spear skewers Cuffer, puts him on the barbecue, and they have him for dinner. A high ground advantage now for Proper as well. Oh, they are just playing with their food now as Falcons extend the lead.
And it looks like they're going to be starting to barrel towards a full cap if Nightmare are not careful. This annihilation from Kappa and this bot are going to have to do work, as Nightmare need to make sure that they can keep themselves in this series. But with a Terror Surge on top of the fact that you've got this barrage, I think Team Falcons can actually play a little bit far back.
Blade, Terror Surge as well. Oh, that's just the perfect combo. You can't run, you can't hide, and no sound barrier either for Admiral to try and keep them in the fight. Proper, the deflect kill from the Bob, right back Lethal. Bob playing for Team Falcons right now, and this might just be a full cap, Rose.
I mean, look at this. Kappa feels forced to actually utilize the Annihilation despite the fact that they're still down players. And across the map, Stalker's going to unleash this barrage to just keep the pressure on Nightmare.
112 meters, 4 minutes to go. Nightmare need to find a miracle. The blade might be what does it for them, though.
Zera has been able to put up those numbers, but on
Nice
the
vortex.
Genji, you've got to be able to deal with Proper.
Nice vortex, there's the blade, they're gonna pop it. He's up on the high ground right now, he's just getting to get taken out by Proper. He just chases him in the neutral. Proper takes down Zera, who was blading, and now Nightmare, they're scattered. Falcons have a rally as well, and they control the bot on Nightmare's side of the map.
3.5 minutes to go as Team Falcons keep pushing that bot further into enemy territory. A Nightmare with this sound barrier. Do you have a chance to come back into this one? But Team Falcons have been the one to pull the trigger first. Even if it hasn't been with an ultimate, it's just being able to get that first kill that has really opened up these fights. And Proper is playing up like a tank right now. Full confidence behind these swings as he now starts to take that flank behind the team.
Yeah, disrespecting Nightmare, it's got to be said. Sound barrier popped, and Team Falcons get out of there. They do end up using a rally, though. You can see Fielder trying to find a bash kill onto Admiral, and Harbin actually is the one there with the follow-up. Both orbital rays popped. Lethal on a nice angle, but cannot land the shots on the Juno. The low health bars are ticking for Falcons right now as Lethal finds a double kill. But there's 2.5 minutes to go, and they need to get a whole lot more meterage, and Harbin's making it difficult.
But this is a good start for Nightmare to come back in. It was expensive, but you still have the ability to be able to put up those DPS plays that Nightmare has cemented their history with. Starts with taking out Stalker and also making sure that you don't get caught by the blade, and that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Zera's gonna be able to shut that down before Proper actually lets it rip.
The blade is gone. They've got the combo though. They
This
have the
might be
Terror
a
Blade.
checkpoint.
Yep, High Noon to try and guarantee it. Oh, what a spear. There's the Terror Surge. Oh, wrong place, wrong time, Admiral. Terror Surge nets them a kill. And now there's 2 minutes to go. Cuppa trade, same with Zera. Proper chasing Ultraviolet off the map. What, you want to try? You really want to try this? Oh, Proper,
no way!
He got him! Oh, Ultraviolet falls off the map anyway.
But he actually accomplished what he wanted to, and this bot gets to stay in control of Nightmare. And the comeback is real. It is so comebackable, Jaws. They are looking at this first checkpoint. They just have to be able to get through Hanbin, but Nightmare could do it. Another blade in the pocket of Zera. The last one fell a little flat, but he has the potential to really stick the Falcons right now, but it's gonna be a close call. We're now getting down to the wire. 1 minute remaining.
Zera pops the blade, same with Proper. He's already found Fielder. Proper ends up getting taken down mid-play by Zera. The apprentice trying to become the master. 1 minute to go. And it is very doable, Rose. They've still got to deal with Harbin, though. They've still got to deal with Stalker. The barrage from the high ground, and Copper pulls him straight to him, and he pulls him straight to his demise. Harbin on the point, just trying to juggle it at this point, and Rose, the problem is that they're not making these fights clean, and they've only got the orbital rate and maybe the annihilation left.
But that's still good ultimates, and they're close enough that they could still be factors in this next fight. But with 30 seconds to go, and Team Falcons starting to move that bomb past that midway point, it's going to be a tough fight for Nightmare. They've got to win 3 team fights in a row to stand a chance to extend this series. So it's looking grim, but Nightmare could do it. They just got to play smart, and they can't get picked off before they take this 5v5.
Probably looking for a flank with Stalker there, but decides better of it, just goes back to the mid. The entirety of Nightmare, having to maybe deal with Fielder, who's overextended and then some. Good solo kill by Zera. Here is the orbital ray used. Okay, not the most expensive fight, and now overtime is here, and the perfection is required from Nightmare, but they've got the tools. They've just got to withstand this orbital ray from Chio.
Very good start here from Nightmare, but you're right. It's the orbital ray on top of the fact that Fielder's gonna have this rally. A lot of sustain on the side of Falcons, so Nightmare gotta go first, and they gotta go fast.
Spear spin from the high ground there. Stalker trying to lay waste to the front line. Cutter going incredibly low. Terrasurge's going to get popped. Annihilation 2. They're taking people down. Fielder probably dead. Checkpoint in the sights of Nightmare. Harbin all on his lonesome. And that's a good start. A first step on what feels like a long, long journey.
2 more team fights Nightmare are gonna have to win in order to win this map and extend the series. But it's in overtime. Nobody can step off now, and there's no ultimates on the side of Nightmare. Zera's gonna be the first one to potentially even get it. So it's about the raw kills from Nightmare if they want to keep this dream alive. And to fight it in double support ultimates, you're asking an impossible feat.
He needs heroics. There's a rally, there's a ray. Everybody from Falcons descending on cover. An easy kill to be said, and that's it. Team Falcons ult dump in the final seconds, and 3-0 Nightmare, sending them down to the lower bracket. But for Nightmare, there's tragedy, and success feels insignificant without it. They've still got a chance. They've just got to beat Crazy Raccoon again. But a placement in the finals now for Falcons with a swift 3-0.
It was a 3-0, but I feel like there were still some incredibly bright moments for Nightmare that give me a lot of hope that they could potentially repeat the insane success that we already saw so far in the tournament. And so hopefully they can keep their heads held high as they get prepared for what is going to be another incredible test of strength. But congratulations, Team Falcons. They came in as the first seed in Asia Pacific, and they're going to be our first finalists here at the Champions Clash.
What felt like a small hiccup against OWCS, I think that was actually OWCS punching up a little bit. It's been almost perfection from Falcons in that upper bracket. Nightmare knocked down to the lowest. We're going to jump over to the desk. They can break down that series and set us up for those lower finals.
Oh, we'd be delighted to. Thank you so much, guys.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. I think we should revisit our Preds.
Yeah,
I think this is a very good time of the day to do that.
Bring him up.
Bring him up.
Bring the Preds.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid,
Oh.
okay? I'm not afraid. I know that
Wait,
I
you're going to
voted.
defend this.
I'm going to defend this. I'm going to defend this.
I respect the
You
commitment.
can't defend it. The game's over.
I know,
They lost.
I know.
It's all about
but
perspective.
It is, Matt. And I love that you're with me on this.
Was it a quality
Because
loss?
it was... I do think what's heartbreaking is the fact that I feel like Nightmare should have been able to take our first map. It was doable on Lijiang. I feel like they're going to be kicking themselves to not be able to at least like get that one with the momentum. But overall, I feel like it just doesn't tell the whole story. They were close. They were close. Like on Lijiang, I think there were great moments coming from Admiral. He had a lot of impact with that brig, with the rally coming in. But yeah,
Why are we letting you guys speak at all?
They should have won Lijiang. They should have won Lijiang. Kings Row, all right, not the best, you know, and then there at the end. But this series was all about downloading info, right?
What are you saying?
Rematch them.
What are you saying?
After they beat Crazy Raccoon.
I agree, the talent is clearly there.
This is like downloading the info. It's a text document that just says the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. That's all it says.
they're warming up for lower bracket.
Lorem ipsum. All is on this data, bro.
No, we're good. We're good. No panic. No panic. We're all.
Okay, so what are the takeaways, Matt?
Actually, so Zero played a really
Glad you
good
asked,
series,
yeah.
I thought. Zero played actually really good. We were like, oh, does he have another life game? Like, I think he's proven, at least through these
You know why it's
games,
called a life
that
game?
He is, well, I mean, it gonna happens only once in a while.
Right.
But he still played extremely well
once in
this series. Once in a while.
while being alive.
Yeah.
Now, Proper seems to have a bajillion lives because every game is a life game for this gentleman.
He's a bag
He
of
can
cats.
he literally is. Well, quite frankly, like the versatility of him and to be able to play each and every single hero that he plays on such a high level is just, that's outrageous. That's criminal.
He's extremely, I mean, we know how good Proper is. I'm surprised that we didn't see them attack some of these Maga comps a little bit more because, like, it's clear that this is the type of style that Falcons wants to play. Running the Ramatra into it, I think, is a choice, right? I think we can debate that.
Is it controversial to wonder why they don't try and work an Ana into those anti-Malga comps? I think, like, having something to answer, like Cardiac Overdrive, is decent. Even though Malga's perk does obviously give him a bit of that extra overhealth and that comes down, I feel like you've got to try and deal with that inherent durability in the clutch in those team fights.
Yeah.